Over the last 6 years, I have worked with over 40 plus multi-million dollar businesses, and I did a lot of mistakes. That's like being honest, I did a lot of mistakes because at that time I didn't know. No one was there to handhold me in my journey, no one was there to guide me. Everything that I did was on my own hit and trial. So, now in this video, the main purpose is that I tell you about those mistakes which I could have avoided if someone had told me these stuffs before. Alright, so grab your pen and paper, sit down tight, and let us get straight to all the pointers one by one. Do not skip any element of it, otherwise, you are just gonna be years back and it will take you a lot of hit and trials because I have done my part, I have done the hit and trials, and then only I'm coming and sharing these things with you. So make the most out of it, alright? The first and the foremost mistake that I see people even doing till date, that is relying on online freelancing platforms and job portals. Now, don't get me wrong, these things work. They really work. They are really fascinating. You get really high quality clients and all that stuff. But the problem is that these platforms, they are too mainstream. Like if anyone who is just starting out, he is also on that platform. So your competition is literally everyone who is just starting out and filtering out. You are competing with people who have no shred of quality, who are willing to work at any given rate that they want. They are willing to work as low as possible. They just want to work. And you do not want to compete with that crowd because that crowd, like, see, you are here. If you compete with people here, they're gonna bring you to this level. And ultimately, you will be defeated because your level is this. So you have to be very careful when going on job portals because you are competing with 1,000 of applicants there. And these applicants, they are going to be very competitive. It will be very tough, and your whole thing will boil down to who will do it at the most cheapest rate. And you do not want to be there. I did this mistake and it suffered me a lot. Like I suffered a lot. It costed me a lot, I should say. So, yep, do not ever rely on job boards. Now, this brings me to the second point, that is not sending out cold emails. Now, see, I am a very big fan of outbounds. But initially, from the start, I was not a very big fan of outbounds because if I was a very big fan and if I had started outbounds from the very first day, I would have never gone on to the job boards. So my journey started from these job boards only. But after having a hard time on the job boards and realizing that this stuff is going to be very problematic, I then switched on to cold emails. And from there on, they became my fan favorite. They are like literally my go-to now. So you should start sending cold emails as early as possible. Now, most of the people, they will say like, how do we find out these emails? See, there are a lot of ways to do this. There are a lot of tools. I don't want you to invest on tools. Just go manually. Scrape out your ideal client profile. See what kind of businesses you want to target, where you can find out their emails. Go through their website, go through the company page, go through the client's profile, go through the employees page. Like there are a lot of ways. Like I'll make a separate video on it someday. If you guys want, just let me know in the comment section and I'll do it. All right. So start sending out cold emails because there, first thing, you will be good at sales. And sales is one skill that's never gonna be replaced by anything else. If you know once how to sell, life becomes very easy. The third mistake that I did was ignoring red flags because I was in the former category that I just mentioned, that people who were willing to work at any rate because they just want to work. Now, initially, I was even working for free because I wanted to get the work. Like people think working for free is a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. The point is, the work that you are doing for free, it is actually teaching you a lot about the corporate structure. It's teaching you about how an organization functions. So you are learning a lot of information from that free work that you are providing. So it's not absolutely free. You are getting something in return. And that's what I did. And in doing this, first of all, the client isn't paying me. Yeah, very much like if I am working for free, then definitely I'm not gonna get paid. So the client isn't paying me. I'm working for the client. And then I'm listening to the so-called feedback from the client, which is kind of not a feedback, but or rather you can call it an order. So these were the red flags, like not adhering to the times, reaching out after working hours, a work-life balance. What is that? You are working for us. We have given you the chance to work. So people think that they own you when they give you the chance to work, which is not actually the case. So do not ignore your red flags for any client. If you think a particular client, no matter how good he is, but if you think your gut says, your gut feeling says that let us just pass this client, pass it. Fourth pointer would be not building my personal profile, not saying a personal brand, a personal social profile. On social media platforms like on LinkedIn, I joined back in 2018 or maybe in 2017, late 2017. I started posting content 4 years later in 2021. Those 4 years I was not active. My social presence was almost kind of nil. I was just doing cold outreach. I had my solid portfolio. I had my website. These were the two things I was relying on: cold emailing and my website. That's it. My social profile, if I had my social profile at that time, things could have been a lot different. Because now, since I have my personal profile set up, the clients, they have somewhere to dig about me. They can go to a place where they can find about the person who they are going to hire, who is going to be working with their team. The team also can go through the person's profile, and the things are a lot easier. But back in the day, I didn't focus on it much because I was like, this is absolute crap. Why would I want to do this? If you could relate to this element of the video, just write down relate in the comment section, because I actually want to know whether how many people are actually relating to this stuff, and whatever things I'm saying, they actually make sense or not. Because no matter where you are in your journey, if you are on a public platform, you need validation from your people, and you guys are my people. You are my people. You're like, you are the G. So please let me know in the comment section. The fifth pointer, and this is the biggest one I made. This is by far the biggest mistake I did. And this was not reaching out to people who actually denied me work a few months back. Okay, take this example. I reach out to someone for my marketing services. That brand doesn't need my services right now. Okay, because maybe they have an in-house team, maybe they do not need it, maybe they are operating at max capacity, maybe they just don't want to spend on marketing. What I used to do was, I would not reach out to them after a few months. But if I would have reached out to them, which I started later on after I guess 2 or 3 years, when I started following up on clients who actually denied me, the conversion rates were really high. Number one, they knew me already. Number two, they already had my work samples. Number three, we were already talking and connected in the past. Onboarding was very easy. As soon as they needed it, I just maintained a good relation, on good talking terms, just kept on dropping some suggestions every now and then in their DMs once in a while. Started wishing them on occasions and festivals. If they were celebrating something, just dropped them a text about it. Set. All like this was that easy, but I wasted 3 years on almost 3 years. I passed on so many opportunities. But now I don't do it. If somebody is not willing to work with me right now, all right, dude, that's fine. Let's be friends. Hola, amigo, gracias. Like that kind of stuff. But earlier, what I used to do, I don't want to work with me. You don't want to work with me. Yep. I don't need you either. Get lost. That's the mentality I had. But then I changed. Like, why can't we be friends? Like, you are a professional, I'm a professional. Let's be professional. And that thing worked out pretty well, which not many people do. Do it. Start doing it. A lot of people reached out to me when I post for video editing posts, or I need a thumbnail designer or something like that. Whenever I post a job posting, people reach out to me. But there are a few people who follow up after a month or two. And to my surprise, even I don't know why I am willing to give them a shot. So that happens. It usually happens. Like, you don't know what the client is thinking, what is happening. So you always got to take your shot. Otherwise, you don't know. Like, if you will not take the step, you will not realize it, what you could have been done, what you could have achieved if you won't take that step. A bit philosophical. Let's get back onto the track and let's go on to the next point. I forgot on the count. Maybe this is the sixth one. But yes, this is the biggest problem that it took me time. First of all, see, I had a very big ego. No shame in admitting it. I had a very big ego. So I used to take everything on my ego. Like, if the client has sent me feedback and that feedback is really constructive feedback, it is not a criticism or he's not just taunting me. That's actually a good feedback. I used to be like pointing out mistakes in my work. Like, you are telling me, the subject matter expert, that this thing could be done this way and it could have been better. Let's do one thing. I leave it on to you. Now you do your thing. I'll go and work somewhere else. So this was my attitude, which, yes, right now, a wall of shame. Yeah, it looks really bad. And it was actually bad. So do not take everything on your ego, because My growth started happening once I started noting out that constructive feedback and implementing it into my daily schedule. Like if somebody is saying this language, this tonality, this vocab could have been better. Yeah, man, you have also seen life. You also have a perspective. Let me think upon it. Yes, it makes sense. I'll do it. Now, this is me right now. Earlier, I was like, oh, well, this could have been this vocab, this tone. Okay, you don't tell me. You are not the subject matter expert. Do what you are good at. Don't tell me what I'm good at. No, this attitude, yes. For a while, your pride, your ego, everything, yes, yeah, like I'm like this and this. As time passes, you realize that not everything is about your ego and pride. Sometimes people do make sense and you should listen to them. Seventh point, and this is also important, like everything I say is kind of important. I'm not that guy who presents you with BS every now and then. So, this thing is, I didn't raise my charges for a very long time. Like I used to work at the same rate for months, which later on I realized. You see, later on I realized this word. I don't know if I count it. I would have said it numerous times. Maybe every like single time I put out a single point, I use this word. But later on I realized that I should actually charge up, because this is the problem that I'll tell you in the next point. Why I thought of raising my rates. Okay, so I didn't used to raise my rates. Now I say that every 3 months you should bump your rates up if you are operating at your maximum capacity. If you already have that many clients that you can handle at once, just change it. I didn't used to do it. And this brings me to the, I don't know, seventh, eighth, ninth point, whichever pointer it is. The reason why I thought to raise my rates was because I used to take too many projects at once on a same rate that all my time was booked. Now, I used to enjoy working a lot, but when you look at the hours you are working, the amount of time you are spending in, and then you see the kind of pay you are getting for it. So it was like the corporate 9 to 5 guy, like, okay, man, I'm done with this job. I'm gonna quit tomorrow, but okay, salary credited. I love this job. So this was the same case with me. Like I used to hate every project until unless it used to get done and I used to get the payment. So yep, that it was that kind of relationship. But anyways, then I figured out like if I can raise my rates by almost 20% or maybe 10% or 5% or whatever percentage, at least I will reduce the workload a little. I will work for 3 clients instead of 4, but these 3 clients will pay me equivalent to 4. So that was a good thing. Like these small minor details are how my eureka moments were triggered. This is how I actually learned. But you are getting it for free. Kind of jealous for you because no one told me this stuff. But the reason I exist, this channel exists, and this whole content and you hearing me right now at this very moment in this video is I designed it so that you don't go through what I went through. Because down the line, you will realize how important these things are. Okay, now coming to the last point. Or maybe the second last point. I took clients from literally another corner of the world, and I don't know what I was thinking, who were really 12-13 hours behind me. 11 a.m. here, it's 11 p.m. there, 2 p.m. there is 2 a.m. here, and I was like, I was expected to be available in their working hours. So 9 to 5, I'm expected to be. So here it is 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. I was working with very odd hour clients, and this for a while sounded good. For a while, honestly, it was 3 years. So yeah, for a while it lasted very good. After that, you develop complications. And the number one complication is if you have to go up early and you have to visit, you have a trip, you have to go to a function anywhere else. You are like, I sleep at 6 a.m. How can you expect me to awake at 6 a.m. and then drive? No, these are the stuff that once your youth of freelancing passes, once you are in there 2 3 4 years, you will realize all these things. Initially you can take odd hour clients. So I'll say take them initially. Whatever international client you are getting, if you have to manage a little bit, do it, go for it, it's worth it. But after a point, when you have that leverage, when you have that authority to be selective, be selective. And now coming to the very last point, and this I fixed just 3 years back, maybe, or 4 years back. I can't recall actually in what year I did, but it was after COVID. So, and that was the expectations that a client has. I always used to ignore it. It was always on the backseat. But then I thought one fine day, let us put it in the front. So I usually ask the clients now, what you are expecting me to do. And this also gives them the clarity, because most of the times they don't know what they're looking for. So they will say, we are looking for a social media manager. Alrighty, you are looking for a social media manager, so I'll manage your social media. About the content, the social media manager will create. Okay, that's fine. So about the visuals, graphics, videos, edits and all, social media manager would take care of it. Sir, this is the work of 2 or 3 people. So you tell them that. And they also know that this is how the market is operating, because according to them, social media manager is somebody who does the A to Z. Now that's fine. The many social media managers, they completely handle the A to Z. But the budget of social media managers, the rates they charge for the A to Z, for the done for you package, no, they are on the higher end. But these clients, they want to spend maybe 20-30% of the budget that the influencer or the creator actually had. So if it takes $1,000 for A to Z for complete done for you package, the client has a budget of $300 and will say the social media manager is going to do everything. So now yourself think what the $300 social media manager would do. He wouldn't do that great, because he's handling the work of 3 people. How long would you think it will survive? And the rate is very low according to the market standards. Okay, so that is pretty much it for all the mistakes that I made in the last 6 years. You know it all. Work on these things. I'm telling you, these mistakes, a lot of them are like I literally laugh out when I read those mistakes. Like, I wasn't raising up my rates, I wasn't setting up the expectations. Like, how could you be so dumb? But at that time, these things made a lot of sense. But you do not have to be dumb, because you are following me. So you are 50% smart already if you are following me, if you are watching every video of mine. So write down in the comment section if you have watched almost all my videos. So just write down all, so I get to know whether you are the one who is actually in the 50% category or not. So yep, I guess we can call it a wrap now, because I want you to implement all these things, and then I want you to come here on this video and write down whether these things actually help you or not. If you haven't joined my newsletter, join it. The link is in the description. Like, the link to all my free resources are in the description. It is on my website, thefreelancematrix.com. You can just go there, access all the resources. Follow me on LinkedIn if you want to. And we can also have a word there. Like, on LinkedIn, my DMs are open. So if you have any problem, I would say write down in the YouTube comment section, because I'm active here more than what I am on LinkedIn these days. So yep, that is pretty much it. Okay, before leaving, if you want to know what you have to do when a client says that your rates are too high, I can't work with you, you can watch this video right here. And if you want to know one hack to increase your income by 60%, just watch this video right here, man. It's gonna blow up your mind.